Welcome to a special edition of the Behind the Art Inspiration podcast, where we delve into the creative processes and stories of 14 artists around the world. In these episodes, we go behind the scenes with artists who are part of the International Online Art Collective, learning about their inspiration, challenges, and techniques while collaborating on our chain reaction project. Beginning with one single piece, each piece informs the next, provoking a chain reaction of other artworks, until we have created a total of 100 artworks assembled into one big multimedia installation. In this episode, we have the pleasure of interviewing artist Guillermo, how do you say your last name? Bublik?
Bublik.
Bublik, that's what I thought. Who hails from Jersey City. Through our conversation with Guillermo, we'll gain insights into his creative process and the inspirations that drive his work. I'm your host, Caroline Karp, and I'm excited to bring you this episode from my DC studio. So sit back, relax, and enjoy us as we go behind the art and discover the fascinating world of Guillermo. How are you doing?
Okay, can you make the volume higher, because I can hardly hear you.
You can hardly hear me. Let me turn up my volume. Did you have your volume up?
Yeah, mine is all the way up.
Okay. Well, I will speak loudly. Sorry about that. Guillermo, let's go to the chain that I can remember the most, because you reacted to something that I sent you. And it was a painting of two figures walking along the ocean in a serene state, happy and joyous. And when you got that, your reaction kind of shifted the mood a bit.
Yeah, that's right. I actually do that a lot. I'm by nature a contrarian, so I tend to always look at the flip side of things. And when I saw when I received your piece, it was indeed very, very, very happy, peaceful, very much in love couple looking at the sea, at the ocean. And for some reason, I think I must have been listening to this one song recently. There was a Argentinian poet who committed suicide by throwing herself onto the rocks of the Atlantic Ocean from the pier. And the song actually talks about walking. I mean, it's a myth, but a lot of people believe that she just walked into the sea and drowned herself, but she actually died from the impact with the rocks. But it's a very melancholic sort of in a way. Well, it's a very melancholic song. So I decided to use that theme, and also I had never done a collage in my whole life, so I thought, well, why not? A lot of members of the collective have stretched themselves and tried mediums that they're not familiar with. So I thought, well, I'll just do a collage so that I feel not so used to that way of making art. So I did a collage based on this poet from Argentina. She was a poet in the early 20th century. Very strong feminist. Free love. So she had a lot of partners, but I mean, she I love her poetry. I mean, it's very full of great images. So that's what I did. And you're right that it was the opposite of sort of the feeling of your piece.
And so, did you actually take her words and superimpose them onto the board? Did you?
Yes, I did. I uh, sort of glued to the board some snippets of her poetry and also some uh, lines from the song, this famous song that celebrates her. And the idea is that anybody who it's a very famous song in Latin America. So a lot of people know the lyrics and would readily identify who the piece is based on.
And is there an image of her in the artwork?
Yes, there's also an image of her walking. The She actually killed herself in one of the most famous beach towns in Argentina, which is also funny because I was born. I was an early baby. I was I was an 8-month baby, and my mom was vacationing in that town when I was born. So the story goes that my father, in those days, I mean, this is a town about 200 miles from Buenos Aires, from the capital. And in those days, the men left the families in this town and went to work in Buenos Aires and then came back for the weekends. So it was totally my birth was totally unexpected, but the doctor had told my mom, go, this baby's not going to be born in the next 5 weeks. And of course I was born. So my mom didn't have any clothes for me. So my dad had to sort of make the trip, an emergency trip to bring, the bag with all my clothes.
Oh my goodness. That's a great story. And it probably never would have been told had we not had that you reacting to my artwork.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And it's also good that you know about how I reacted to your piece, because at the beginning, this would be interesting for people following this chain reaction process. At the beginning, if you remember, we were, it was all blind. I mean, the only
Yes.
person who would know a piece was the person receiving a piece, but not the person passing on the piece. So had this been the first round, you would have not known about my reaction to your piece.
Exactly. And it's interesting because I was reacting to Gerda's piece, who was reacting to Wendy's piece, and Gerda brought it to the sea through just the colors that she chose, because Wendy had painted something that was bright and orange, and Gerda wanted the opposite and brought it to the sea with a figure.
Yeah, which also appealed to me that this at least this round seems to zigzag a lot, seems to sort of go from highs to lows as it passes on through different artists, which I find that very appealing, that we don't all react to emotions the same way.
Yes. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe another link that you were interested in that really moved you, or that you can remember?
From the poetry?
Or from any of the other links in the chain that you did?
Oh, well, the first one actually was also interesting. I received a piece from Greta, and it was one of her. I mean, I love the you know, that style of hers where it's all very galactic.
Yes.
Sort of, you know, it looks like clusters of stars or galaxies. You know, something not terrestrial at all. And no, I think that what happened is that Ina reacted to, no, sorry, no, I reacted to Greta, and she sort of, her feeling for her piece was something that didn't have an exit, that, you know, it's like you're trapped with no exit. So I thought that I would do something that shows an exit to, you know, whatever, you know, dilemma or conundrum or anything that makes one feel trapped. So I did something that also I hadn't done before, which was use my my feet as part of the painting. So what I did is I took an old pair of sandals that I didn't mind ruining, and I painted the board with bright different colors, and then I stepped before it had time to dry. I stepped on it with different sort of, as if I were walking in different directions, and it was my way to symbolize the possibility of getting out of this hole that Greta had created, emotional hole.
Interesting. Guillermo, where can people learn more about you and your art?
Oh, well, I have an Instagram handle, which is Guillermo Bublik, just my name, all in lowercase. And my website is www.guillermobublikartist.com.
And I'm going to put all of that in the show notes, as well as more information of how to learn about our chain reaction and where we're going to be exhibiting our project once it's out in the world for everyone to see. So I wanted to thank you for joining me today. For this.
Thank you. I mean, it's fun talking about our project. So it's great to just have the opportunity to tell people how we've been working on it, and how I think we're all growing very, very much as artists.
Yes, and this is just the first of this type of interview. So we'll be doing it again a little bit down the road. But I wanted to thank everybody for listening in on our, listening to our love of connection, collaboration, and art.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.